You might think she's forgotten you because she's not calling, but real forgetting doesn't look like this. When a woman truly moves on, she replaces you. She fills the gap. She talks to someone new, posts about her life, stays busy so her mind has no time to circle back. That's not what's happening here. See, when she goes quiet like this, it's not closure. It's contemplation. It's reflection. It means you're still on her mind more than she wants to admit. She's thinking about the moments, the decisions, the mistakes, and maybe even questioning if letting you go was the right call. Today we're going to break down exactly why her silence is not the end of the story. In fact, it's often just the beginning of her realizing what she might have lost. Let's get started. Number 1. Distance sparks reflection. Distance sparks reflection. Just because she's not texting or calling doesn't mean you're erased from her thoughts. In fact, it's often the opposite. Late at night, when everything slows down and the world gets quiet, her mind starts revisiting the moments you shared, the conversations, the smiles, the unfinished stories. All of it starts playing back in her head like a private film she can't turn off. This is where many men make a critical mistake. They rush to interrupt that process. They send another message. They pick up the phone. They try to fix something that might not even be broken. And by doing that, they cut short the very moment when she's naturally thinking about them. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it if you have to with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present." That wisdom applies here. Your role isn't to stress over what she's thinking. It's to remain steady, to live with intention, to keep your mind focused on what you can control yourself. Picture this. When you drop a stone into still water, the ripples move outward on their own. You don't need to keep splashing the pond. The same thing happens in her mind. The last meaningful interaction you had, that's the stone. Her thoughts are the ripples. Let them spread. And here's something worth remembering. People don't lose sleep over someone who meant nothing to them. They don't lie awake at 2 a.m., replaying moments with someone they've forgotten. So, if she's lying there, eyes open in the dark, wondering about you, that's not emptiness. That's emotional processing. Give her the space to feel that. Let her sit with her own questions. Maybe she's wondering if she misjudged you. Maybe she's realizing she took your presence for granted. Or maybe she's noticing something powerful. You're not chasing. You're evolving. You're becoming a man who is calm, focused, and committed to his own life. Your mission is not to wait around staring at the phone. It's to build a life that makes you proud, whether she calls or not. To sharpen your mind. To strengthen your purpose. And when you do that, something interesting happens. When you stop worrying about whether she'll reach out, that's often the exact moment when she does. Number 2, the midnight mind loop. The midnight mind loop. Here's when she thinks about you the most. Not when she's out with friends, not when she's busy. It's at night alone when the lights are off and her phone is still. That's when the memories show up. That last conversation, that look you gave her. Her mind starts looping. And guess what? You're part of that loop. The quiet hours are powerful because they remove distractions. There's no scrolling, no noise, no social mask to wear. Just her in her room, staring at the ceiling or hugging her pillow. And suddenly, without warning, your name surfaces in her thoughts. Not because she planned it, but because the mind always returns to what feels unresolved. This is where a lot of men mess up. They think, she's not calling me, so she's forgotten me. But brother, the absence of action doesn't always mean the absence of thought. Sometimes silence is loud. Sometimes distance is not rejection. It's reflection. And late at night, when everything else fades, that reflection gets sharper. A Stoic man understands this. He doesn't need to interrupt the process or force contact. He doesn't panic because she's not texting. He knows life unfolds in cycles. The Stoics teach us to trust the natural rhythm of things. If you planted a seed, You don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You water it with patience. You give it space, and you allow life to do what life does. She may not reach out right now. Her pride might hold her back. Her ego might tell her to stay quiet. But that doesn't mean you're not in her mind. In fact, the quiet often means you're taking up more space there than you realize. You're part of her midnight loop. The thoughts that visit when she's alone with herself, when no one's watching, and when noon's there to distract her from what's really going on inside. Think about it. How many times have you experienced this too? At 2 a.m., when the world is silent, your mind replays certain moments, certain people. It's human nature. It's not weakness. It's memory doing its work. And if you've lived with presence, if you've left an impression that was real, you're going to resurface in her thoughts, whether she admits it or not. So, here's their power move. You don't chase. You don't break your own peace trying to force her hand. You live well. You focus on your path. You stay calm in Thessalon's, knowing that the late-night thoughts aren't yours to control. They're hers to carry. And believe me, she's carrying them. So, take a second if you're watching this right now and drop a comment below sharing your thoughts, or just type, "Let silence do the work." It's simple, but it reminds you and everyone else here that peace and patience leave a deeper mark than chasing ever could. And while you're at it, give this video a like. It helps us reach more men who need this message. Now, let's keep going. Number 3. Her ego stays silent. Her ego stays silent. Her heart remembers. Pride is a powerful thing. Her ego is telling her, don't text him first, don't show weakness. But her heart is busy replaying your moments together. That's the silent war going on inside her, the push and pull between wanting to protect her pride and secretly missing you when no one's watching. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." That means you don't get stuck overthinking what move you should make next. You don't sit there crafting the perfect text or wondering how to trigger a response. You stay grounded. You don't argue. You don't beg. You just be. Imagine this. It's midnight. She's lying in bed scrolling through her phone, but everything feels empty. That playlist you shared starts playing. That photo from weeks ago pops up in her memories. Her fingers hover over your name, but she doesn't call, not because she doesn't think of you, but because her ego is standing guard at the door, whispering, "Stay quiet. Let them reach out first." But a man who understands Stoicism doesn't let this shake his peace. He doesn't take her silence as rejection. He takes it as part of life's natural flow. Just like the ocean has its tides, human connection has its cycles of closeness and distance. The Stoic man learns to master his response to those cycles. He knows that silence isn't something to fear. It's something to respect. Right now, while she's not calling, she's still thinking about you every night. That last conversation, that smile you gave her when you walked away calmly instead of arguing, the way you didn't crumble under the weight of uncertainty, those things echo louder than any text message ever could. So, what do? You continue building yourself. You focus on your own growth. You live your life fully, not to impress her, but because that's what a man of discipline does. And when she thinks about you, which she will, it won't just be memories of the past that flood her mind. It'll be thoughts of the man you're becoming right now. A man who knows his worth, who moves with calm confidence, and who never lets temporary silence shake his inner peace. That's the difference between chasing and attracting. That's the power of letting her ego wrestle with the silence while you stay solid in who you are. Number 4, the law of emotional momentum. Every day she thinks of you without talking to you. That emotional weight grows. That's momentum, quiet momentum. It's like a snowball rolling downhill. Each day she holds back from calling. Each night she wonders, but stays silent. That snowball picks up speed. And here's the thing most men forget. You're not supposed to interrupt it. You're not supposed to run up the hill and try to stop it. The more you chase, the more you break the very process that's working in your favor. A Stoic man knows this. He understands that emotions, just like energy, build over time when left alone. And this is especially true in silence. Think about it. She's not calling, but that doesn't mean she's forgotten you. Quite the opposite. Every night when the world goes quiet, when her distractions run out, she starts thinking about you again. That last conversation, the way you used to look at her, the way you didn't beg when she pulled away, those thoughts keep circling back like a quiet loop playing in her mind. And the more nights that pass, the heavier that loop feels. Imagine you're standing still at the center of your own life while she's pacing back and forth in her mind. Should she call you? Should she not? Should she break the silence? Or should she hold her pride? That emotional tension builds quietly but powerfully. The Stoics would call this letting nature take its course. Marcus Aurelius reminded us the impediment. To action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Her silence feels like a wall, but actually it's becoming the path that brings her back to you, if you let it. The mistake most men make is trying to control the moment too soon. They break their own silence out of fear. They text first because they can't handle the unknown. But the Stoic man, he understands the law of emotional momentum. He knows that patience isn't just waiting, it's letting the emotional snowball do its work. Let it roll, let it grow. Let her sit with the echoes of your absence. When she thinks of you at night, in those quiet moments when no one else is around, that's when momentum is building. She might not call yet, but you're on her mind. And every silent night adds weight to that thought. Number 5, familiarity fades. Mystery, familiarity fades. Mystery stays. When you're too available, you become background noise, predictable, easy to tune out. It's not because she's a bad person. It's just how the human mind works. We get used to things that are always within reach. It's like leaving the TV on in the background all day. After a while, you stop noticing the noise. The same happens in relationships. If you're constantly present, always sending that good morning text, always asking how her day was, you slowly lose the element of surprise. You become part of her routine, and routines don't stir the heart. They calm it sometimes to the point of indifference. But when you step back, when you stop calling, when you stop showing up in every notification, you create space, and space creates curiosity. Suddenly, you're no longer the guy who texts every morning. Now you're the guy she's wondering about late at night. The silence you leave behind isn't empty. It's full of questions. Is he thinking about me? Did he move on? Did I lose him? That's when the mind starts looping, especially at night when there's no noise to drown out the thoughts. She's not calling, but she's thinking about you every night. Her ego might be telling her, don't reach out, stay strong, don't look weak. But her heart is replaying the moments you shared, the sound of your voice, the way you looked at her, the times you made her feel seen. This is exactly where the Stoic path gives you the upper hand. A Stoic man understands the difference between chasing and allowing. He knows that attention loses its value when it's handed out too freely. He knows the power of restraint. Remember what Epictetus taught. We should not seek for things to happen as we wish them, but for things to happen as they do. In this case, that means letting her sit with the silence you've left, letting her reflect, letting her feel the gap. Have you ever noticed how a rare sunset or a once-a-year event holds more emotional weight than something you see every day? That's because scarcity creates value. And when you stop reaching out, when you pull back, not out of spite, but out of self-respect, you naturally become rare again. Not just to her, but in general. You're no longer the man who needs constant validation. You're the man who respects his own time, who lives in purpose. Holit's people come to him when they're ready. That's why right now, while you're watching this, she's probably lying in bed staring at her ceiling. She won't say it out loud. She might not even text you tomorrow. But trust me, she's thinking about you every night because mystery stays. It lingers. It creates a gravity that pulls on her thoughts when the world finally goes quiet. And if you can, stay grounded in your silence. If you can hold your line without giving in to impulse, you'll realize something powerful. You're not losing her. You're letting her realize your worth on her own. Before we move on, take a moment to reflect. Have you been too available lately? Sometimes stepping back is what makes someone realize your worth. Share your thoughts in the comments or simply type mystery builds attraction to lock in this mindset. Let's keep going. Number 6. Memory is stronger. Memory is stronger than messaging. You can ignore a text, but you can't ignore a memory. At 2 a.m., when the world is quiet and her room is dark, she's not scrolling through memes, like she does during the day. No, this is different. This is when her mind starts playing back the moments you shared, the look in your eyes, the sound of your voice, the way you made her feel when you weren't trying to impress her, but simply being present. That's what stays. Not the string of messages, not the cleaver replies. It's the energy you left behind. That's why it's so important to understand this. The memories you create in someone's life hold more power than the conversations you try to force after the connection fades. And right now, even though she's not calling, she's thinking quietly. In the background of her life, she's carrying those mental replays. The last date, the walk back to the car, the moment you pulled back, not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect. Marcus Aurelius said, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind." But here's the secret. The same applies to her. If you've lived well, treated her with genuine presence, and walked away without chasing, you've already planted seeds in her mind. Seeds that grow at night when the distractions fall away. When was the last time you remembered a text message? Word for word? Probably never. But you do remember how someone made you feel, especially when they leave in silence with dignity without breaking their own inner peace. That's why your absence right now is louder than any message you could send. She might not pick up the phone tonight, but her mind will pick up the memory of you again and again. And the beauty of this, you don't have to do anything but continue living well. Keep becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to reach out just to soothe his ego. The kind of man who understands that what lingers in someone's memory is far more powerful than what lingers in their inbox. Number 7. Your calm energy speaks. Your calm energy speaks louder than her phone. When you stop chasing, you create something rare, an emotional vacuum. And nature hates a vacuum. The moment you step back, her mind can't help but fill in the silence. It starts asking questions. It starts building scenarios. Why did he go so quiet? Did he stop caring? Is he talking to someone else? These questions don't appear when you're constantly checking in. They don't exist when you're always the one reaching out first. But when you stop, when you shift from chasing to calmly waiting, that's when her mind starts looping you back into her thoughts, especially at night, especially when the distractions fade. Imagine this. She's lying there at 200 a.m., staring at the ceiling. The house is silent, the phone is still, and the world finally slows down. That's when your absence starts to echo. Not because you vanished out of anger or ego, but because you chose presence over pressure. You decided not to play the game of endless texting or trying to force connection. You chose calmness, and that calmness sends a louder message than any paragraph you could have written. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." And right now, it's her imagination doing the heavy lifting. She's picturing you living your life, staying in your peace, not waiting by the phone. That mental image creates more emotional weight than a dozen calls ever could. The beauty of this, you're not causing harm. You're not manipulating. You're simply respecting the natural flow of life. The Stoic man understands that attachment to control creates suffering not just for you, but for her too. So instead of chasing her attention, you step back and let the silence do what words cannot. Most men panic. In this space, they get uncomfortable with the quiet. They send that late-night text just to get a ping back, just to feel something. But the man who practices calm presence, he waits, not from pride, but from wisdom. He knows that what is real will return without being forced. He knows that emotional clarity comes in moments of stillness, not noise. So while she's not calling, don't assume you're forgotten. In fact, you're very present in her mind. She's thinking about you more now because of the space you've created, not in spite of it. Your calm energy isn't passive. It's active patience. It's a quiet form of strength. And when a man learns to sit with that energy, he becomes unforgettable. Not because he tried to be, but because he allowed life to unfold on its own terms. At the end of the day, your silence, when grounded in calm, confident energy, becomes the loudest message she hears. And the beautiful part, you didn't have to say a word. Number 8, she's testing her own. She's testing her own strength, not yours. Strength, not yours. And that's something most men don't realize. When she goes silent, when the phone doesn't ring, when no message comes through, it's not always about punishing you or pushing you away. Sometimes she's just trying to see if she can live without you. She's sitting in her own private battle, wondering, can I move on? Can I let this go? It's not you she's testing. It's herself. This is where most men fall apart. They panic. They feel the silence and rush to fill it. They text too soon. They call late at night, thinking, if I just remind her I'm still here, maybe she'll stop pulling away. But in doing that, they break something sacred, their own value, their own position, their own calm. Marcus Aurelius wrote, don't disturb yourself by imagining your whole life is in other people's hands. And this is exactly that moment. Her silence. That's her storm to face, her choice to process. Her decision to sit in the dark and ask herself if she's really ready to let you go or if she's just reacting from pride, fear, or confusion. Think about it like this. Imagine you're standing on the edge of a lake. The water is still crystal clear. But if you start throwing stones, you'll stir up the mud from the bottom. You'll make it cloudy. That's what happens when you jump in too soon. When you chase, when you interrupt her emotional process before it's ready to settle, let her test her strength. Let her feel the silence. Let her wonder. That's not cold. It's respectful. It's you understanding the law of emotional gravity. When you stop pulling, the other person either drifts away or they come back naturally on their own terms. So if she's not calling tonight, don't assume it's over. Don't assume it's a game. Understand that it's part of her internal test. And you stay grounded. Stay still. You don't need to remind her of your presence. Your calm energy is already doing that. Emotional echoes hit harder at night. Number 9. Emotional echoes hit harder at night. During the day, distractions protect her from missing you. She has errands to run, conversations to keep her mind occupied, social media to scroll through. She might laugh at a joke her friend tells or get lost in work meetings. But all of that is just noise. Temporary noise. Because when the day finally winds down, when she puts her phone away and the room turns silent, that's when the emotional echoes begin. At night, there's no filter, no distractions left to save her from her own mind. That's when you come back, not physically but mentally. She might be staring at the ceiling, scrolling mindlessly, or lying there in the dark pretending not to care. But inside, she's replaying moments. The last conversation you had, the way your voice sounded, the things you used to do together that now sit in silence. She's not calling you, but she's thinking about you every night. This is the part where most men break. They feel that silence and start panicking. They send that late-night text, thinking it will fix things. But here's the truth. By trying to interrupt her reflection, you actually reset the emotional process. You don't give her enough time to feel your absence. And without absence, there's no desire to reconnect. A Stoic man understands this cycle. He knows that doing less often creates more. Seneca once said, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." When you constantly push to be present in someone's life, you become background noise. But when you step back, when you allow space, you become something she wonders about again. You shift from being predictable to becoming a mystery, and mystery builds emotional gravity, especially at night when the mind has no escape. Think about the last time you lost something important. Your favorite watch, a letter, a photo. During the day, you might forget about it because you're distracted. But at night, that's when you feel the absence. That's when you think, where is it? Why do I miss it now more than ever? That's exactly how emotional echoes work. Right now, you are that echo in her mind. She may not admit it. She may not pick up the phone. But make no mistake, she's remembering you. She's running her own private highlight reel, playing back the moments you shared. The disciplined man allows that process to happen naturally. He stays silent, not because he's punishing her, but because he respects the emotional timing of things. He knows he can't control her thoughts, but he can control his own actions. And inaction can be powerful when done with purpose. Number 10, detach. But don't disappear, detach. But don't disappear from yourself. Remember, this isn't about disappearing from her. It's about reappearing in your own life. That's where most men get it wrong. They think silence is a tactic to punish her or some game to win back control. But real detachment isn't about revenge. It's about realignment. It's about reminding yourself who you are when no one's calling, when no one's validating, when no one's feeding your ego. That's when your true self shows up or falls apart. She's not calling you right now. And maybe that stings a little. Maybe part of you wants to break the silence to check in, to get some emotional reassurance. But if you do that too soon, you interrupt a much more important process, the rebuilding of you. The truth is, you're not supposed to sit by the phone like it's a life support machine. You're supposed to get back to your life, to the version of you that existed before the overthinking, before the anxiety, before you let her attention become your source of oxygen. Imagine it like this. She's lying in bed at night scrolling through her phone, but it's not really Instagram that's keeping her awake. It's that empty space you left. It's the quiet question in her mind. What is he doing now that I'm not calling? And here's where your power comes in. Not because you're ignoring her, but because you're living fully. You're in the gym while she's wondering. You're planning your next move while she's remembering the last thing you said. You're reading, learning, building while she's stuck between pride and curiosity. That's the emotional gap you create when you detach with purpose. Epictetus said it best. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. So, who do you want to be right now? A man who waits for a text or a man who uses this silence as fuel? Think about it. This isn't just about her. This is about your character, your discipline, your future. If you choose wisely, you'll realize this. Moment of no contact is actually a gift. It's giving you the space to focus on the things you've neglected. Your fitness, your mind, your purpose, that project you've been putting off. The version of you that looks back 6 months from now will either thank you or regret you, depending on what you do right now. The Stoic man doesn't resent silence. Howell comes it because in the quiet, he hears his own thoughts more clearly. He stops living in someone else's emotional orbit and starts building his own gravity. So the next time you wonder why conclusion isn't she calling, remind yourself. Silence is not always rejection. Sometimes it's just reflection. And when you master your own mind, you'll realize you don't need her to call to feel valuable, because you've already answered the most important call, the one to yourself. If this message spoke to you even a little, hit the like button, share this with a brother who needs to hear it, and leave a comment below. What's one thing you're focusing on right now to build your inner peace? I'll see you in the next one. Stay stoic, stay legendary.